Business Spotlight, brought to you by Cross Rhythms and Baba Baboon.
I'm Sonya Farrell and this is Business Spotlight in partnership with Cross Rhythms City Radio and Baba Baboon. Joining me in the studio this week, we've got the lovely Laura Jennings, who's actually Head of Partnerships at Port Vale Football Club. Laura, hello.
Hello, Sonya.
How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming in on Business Spotlight. This is a first for Business Spotlight. We've never talked about football as such, or going into in this depth anyway, and how football actually does relate, to businesses. And sometimes it isn't always about what's going on the pitch, is it, Laura? I mean, how is it, or why is it so important for a football club to be associated with businesses and local businesses?
I mean, everything that happens on the football pitch obviously helps the way that the business side works. So, for example, if with the Bromley game, when we win 5-0, that's your ammo as a business. So with the partnerships and how we sell sponsorship and partnership, if we win 5-0 on the Monday following, that's the start of your pitch to go and sell anything to anybody. Mm-hmm. But then also on the other side, if we lost or if there was a draw, you've kind of got to twist that and manipulate it and use it, because the business has still got to happen. We've still got to carry on, but just spinning it and using it in a different way. Mm-hmm. If there was a really bad result or something, maybe you don't focus on that. Maybe you lean on the other sides of the business, like the community elements, and you don't talk about the football too much. So it kind of goes both together, really.
Yeah, because, as supporters, and, I'm a football fan myself, but as supporters as well might not necessarily understand how a football club really operates as a business or what goes on behind the scenes. So, it could be quite difficult for somebody who's a supporter to actually try and relate to how a football club runs as a business.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know many other businesses outside, obviously, sport as a whole, but where a decision that you make, you've basically got thousands and thousands of people watching the decision that you've done. So, for example, something like front of shirt sponsorship, everybody that buys the shirt, everybody that watches the football, selling that item of inventory is just part of my job, and it's something that I do for the club to make revenue for the club. But then you've also got all the fans and everybody in the communities that are looking at it, that are talking about it as well.
Yeah. And it's, like you say, you can't keep everybody happy either with certain decisions. We know that. I mean, I understand that with being a football fan as well. You can't always make the right decisions, but also for, you just mentioned there people in communities, and that was something I was going to bring up as well, Laura, because I see a lot and you hear a lot about how Port Vale really is passionate about supporting local communities. But how, if you're associated with the club as a business, can that then link in to supporting the local community as well?
So it's a great example would be one of our platinum partners is Leap Building Society. So they're actually the headline sponsor of the foundation as well. So it's not just about, it can be about brand awareness, getting the logo out there, getting other people understanding what's going on with those businesses. But the great thing about partnering with Leap is it's brilliant for their branding, seeing their logo everywhere, that you can see it on the accessible stand and on the ad boards. But it's more about for them as it is for us of what impact that can make. Yeah. So what items have they got in their inventory? So, for example, if they've got season tickets or general admission tickets, they give them away. They work with the foundation to pick the families that the tickets go to and that the season tickets go to. They get involved in the different, like, for example, Disability Squad. They became sleeve sponsor of that because they wanted to support the Disability Squad and help them with any projects and things that they've got going on. So it can be about the brand awareness, but when you really drill down to it, it's how can they be involved in the different programs and the different projects and associating their name with it. What can they do behind the scenes as well with Christmas and things like that too?
Yeah, and again, how important then is it from yourself as well, and from the club, is finding those businesses who are like-minded businesses or who really have the same values and ethos as well?
Yeah, it's really important. So the way that we do partnerships is we want them to be mutually beneficial. So we like to partner with businesses that are not necessarily just huge in the community, but have the same values, the same ethos. And we like to get to know people, what their business is about, and seeing if the businesses pair together, get to know them as people. Instead of just jumping straight in and saying, this inventory costs this amount a season, thank you for the money, see you next year. That's just not the vibe at all. And we really like to work with businesses that like I say, we get to know them. Is it the brand awareness that they want? Do they want to work with the community? Do they like the suites that we've got, the function rooms, and they want to get involved in them? Really understand what makes them tick, and then pair them with inventory to create a partnership that actually works, like Leap Building Society, for example, and putting the things in that make a difference for them.
And how does a partnership work with a football club then? How, I'm sure there's various different options and different ways, like you've mentioned there, whether it's getting involved in the community or even giving away the tickets if they've got season tickets as part of their package or whatever it is. But how does the process actually work with a business?
So it tends to start off relatively informal and casual. So if we meet a business that say, I'd love to get involved, or I've seen the community things that you're doing, we'd like to do some of that. We've seen the advertising boards, we'd like some of those. Can we have a chat? And then it sort of like snowballs from there. Starts very informal. You know what I'm like. Come in for a coffee. Let's have a chat. Let me get to know you. Because I'd hate to just jump straight in. Here's a brochure. Here's everything that you can buy. What's your budget? And I'll put a proposal together. That's just like not the vibe. So I want them to come in, have a look around the club, sit in one of the boxes and look at the pitch, because we know that view is incredible, and sort of just go from there. I want to know what kind of things they're interested in and what their budget is, but that's not the first thing. So get to know them, and then as the conversation goes on from there, I will start having ideas of, they've just mentioned that, so that might pair with that inventory that's available, or that sort of thing, and go from there. And then obviously I will ask them what the budget is, because I wouldn't want to say I've got this fronter shirt that's available in next season, and they go, I haven't got that kind of money, or really underestimate them and maybe pair them with something that's a different sort of value. So from there it sort of really naturally progresses, and then it turns into proposals of the inventory and just goes from there, really.
And does it matter, the likes of, obviously we're talking about Port Vale Football Club here, but does it matter on what size the business is then?
No, not at all. So we've got inventory that starts at £500 and goes all the way up plus of 6 figures. So it all depends on what their budget is. I would match inventory that will match them and match their budget. There's all sorts of different things, and we can be creative. There's things in the stadium, there's digital things, social media, like I said, naming rights for suites, community things involved in the pillars of the foundation or being in the sports hall. So it's very, very scalable. So they don't have to come straight in at a gold partner. If they've never done anything before, they can test the water and start off with some advertising boards and naturally grow with the club, which is what a lot of them do as well.
And again, I suppose, part of business as well, for myself, is a network. I've been to many networking events since starting out on myself, and meeting different people and finding those right people and those connections. But is it, I suppose, being associated with a football club as well, is that another sort of network in itself which you could actually get involved in? Yeah,
definitely. So we actually have a networking group called the Vale Park Business Club. So it's just over a year old, started in December 23, and we try and play on the football a little bit. So we do home and away, alternating venues, and there's a really, really good mix of people that are in the group. So we've either got people that are already partners, been with the club for years, they might have only just been a partner and they've just come in this last season, but there's also people in there that are local businesses that don't really have any yet affiliation with the club, but they just pay for a membership to network, and then it naturally grows from there. So they may have just started in the club because they want to network, they might be salespeople that want to build that, but then it ends up being the relationship, which is how we do partnerships. We call them relationships, and we don't really use the word commercial too much because it's about partnerships, and it sort of grows from there. So we've got about 64 members of the business club, and it's a really good mix of people that are already partners and people that are local that just come for the networking.
Are all the partners, or even the businesses who are coming to the business club, are they actually all Port Vale supporters?
No, which is brilliant because you get people from here, there and everywhere. It leads for some very interesting football chat when everybody first comes in, but no, if they don't start off as a Port Vale fan, they become a Port Vale fan because they're immediately emotionally connected. The way that we say we create the partnerships, they become relationships, and you get to know the people. A lot of them often say that Port Vale then becomes their second club because on a Saturday they're watching the fixtures with how well we're performing at the moment. They're all gunning and really, really cheering us on. So one of our recent partners that's joined us this season, they're all Sunderland fans.
Okay.
But Port Vale is now a club they're actively, because they're now a partner and the relationship is so good. They've been to the ground, they had a great experience. They're now watching us in the table and checking the fixtures just as much as they would their own club.
And that, again, it just signifies, again, to me, again, it is about that network. And like you say, nothing has to be like everyone, not everybody, but a lot of the time people in business, they just think it's just got to be transactional and that's it. When I don't agree with that either, I'll be totally honest. But I think it is, like you say, it's so important for me and from what you're saying for businesses to have that long-term relationship, but also that understanding between each other.
Yeah, absolutely. And the transactional is the last thing that we want to be as well. So from the beginning, it's how you build the relationship, how you get to know the people. And I'm not saying I want to know everything about everybody's kids and their dogs and their cats, but having that mutual relationship where you can just have a chat as well, and it doesn't have to be formal business all the time. And how was your Easter? How are your kids? Did you go away? How was your trip? That's part of it, and that's why a lot of the partners like being with us as well, that sometimes it's just a nice chat and, oh, by the way, your tickets are sorted. That kind of thing. It doesn't have to be so formal and rigid, and that's just not how we do it.
Conversation starters as well, whether whichever sort of room you're in or wherever you are, I think the more you can relax with a certain network or associates, again, for me, that's where more business is done more naturally.
Yeah, absolutely. And football is a big common theme among a lot of people. So if you're in the stadium and you're in a room, in the boardroom where we do the networking events, and you're overlooking the pitch, or you can see the big screen, you can see the advertising boards, it very naturally brings up conversations. So it doesn't, even though I am technically a salesperson, it doesn't feel like I'm forcing having those conversations with people. It just comes very naturally, and it's not too pushy, if that makes sense. Yeah,
and your time at the club, Laura, how long is it you've been there now?
3 years now.
3 years.
Yeah.
And we've already mentioned that the business club, was launched just over a year ago. So in your time at Port Vale, for instance, what have you seen how things have started to develop maybe and change with those business relationships? We've talked a lot about community, conversations not being fully transactional. But what are the main factors that, you've seen or developed over the last few years?
I'd say that seeing Matt come in as the CEO was a huge thing that I noticed, a big shift and a change. I mean, he came in as community and CSR director and then went to CEO, and it just felt like a very natural person to go for the job. And Carol obviously handpicked him perfectly because of the way that things go now, the way that Carol wants things done, the way her beliefs and her ethos is instilled in Matt, but very naturally. So it's not like it's been forced upon him that this is the way to do things. It's all so aligned, and it's all very driven. And obviously there's targets and things that have to be done, and it's high performing, but it's also a great place to work as well at the same time. And like I say, Matt sort of mirrors that from Carol. So him coming in and just steering it in a little bit of a performing direction just felt brilliant, to be fair. And I came in a venue sales position and then changed into partnership. So it's nice to see that as my path has sort of changed, that, I love it.
And is there going to be, just going back as well onto the networking side and the business club and everything, is there anything you can share on that? Is there going to be any developments coming in the future? Is it going to get bigger and better, or what would you like to see from it?
I'd like it to keep growing, to be fair. We're always looking for new away venues. So when we do it at home, we do it in the boardroom, and you get a fantastic view of the pitch and the big screen, and we put breakfast on. But we're always looking for new away venues. We tend to use a lot of partner venues, but we're always open to any venue across Stoke-on-Trent and the surrounding areas, really, that anywhere that wants to showcase their venue, somewhere we've not been before, anybody that's potentially interested in becoming affiliated with the club, but they're not quite the very, very early steps. Love to use their venues to come and network in, and then help it naturally grow from there as well. And it's great for their business too, because they're going to have 30 to 35 brand new businesses that might not have been there before thrust into their venue.
So again, making those connections in a different way,
in a natural way.
So magic wand then, Laura, on or off the pitch, don't jinx it, please. What would you like to see coming up at Port Vale, whether it's for yourself, whether it's for the club, whether it's for other businesses to get involved? Is there any other opportunities, should I say, for businesses? Like you mentioned a lot there. We've mentioned quite a few things today, but is there anything else where if you had a magic wand, you would like to see happen?
Well, it's our 150th anniversary next season, so there's a lot going on there. Some great things, and it's going to be just as crazy as ever on a match day, but even more pumped up for next season. So we've got a mural that's happening, just finalising the location of where that's going to go. But it's going to be like a fan-led mural. So fans will be able to submit their photos online on a website and pay us a small fee. But then as you zoom out, it will look into a different picture. So there's sponsorship opportunities available for that as well. It's a sponsorship opportunity for one season, but that doesn't mean after that one season we're going to paint over it and it's gone. So they'll pay to sponsor it for that one season for the 150th, and then it will stay as long as Carol wants it on the wall. So there's some great opportunities surrounding that. We're going to have a Hall of Fame event where we'll be starting. I mean, if you're going to start a Hall of Fame, you're going to start it in your 150th season, aren't you?
Yeah.
And then we'll have our actual match day anniversary when it gets to 2026. So 2026 is the year of the anniversary, but 26 is the season of when we're going to choose to celebrate it, because we can get a bit more time in then that way, can't we?
Definitely. So 150th celebrations coming up.
Yeah.
Business club's still going.
Yeah.
Like you say, that network and those partnerships, not everything is a transaction. And that's from, me being around and seeing things at the business club as well. I've seen certain things, how that does happen from my own experience, I'll be totally honest. But I just wish you all the best. I wish Port Vale all the best, and fingers crossed for the rest of this season. But thank you for coming in here on Business Spotlight. Are you going to bring the team back next time?
I'll have to. I'll pull them along next time. We'll do the three of us together.
Three of you. And don't forget Boomer the mascot either.
Boomer will have to come along next time, yeah.
Thank you. There's Laura Jennings, who's Head of Partnerships at Port Vale Football Club, here on Business Spotlight with me, Sonya Farrell.
Business Spotlight, shining a light on our local business community. Brought to you by Cross Rhythms and Baba Baboon.